Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 74 of the Own the Moment podcast. My name is TJ Lasig. I'm one of the co-founders here at OTM, and we are back for another edition of the Owners Club Strategy Show. With me, as always, we've first got the Herzigbot. Justin, what's going on tonight?
Oh, it's doing pretty well. In other sports worlds, we've got some playoffs going on for baseball starting to, I guess technically started last night, but the real stuff feels like it starts tonight. Obviously, we're heading into week 5, already a month into the NFL season. It's been fun, and I might have even won a bet against Bach last week. We'll see.
Yeah, we're going to get to see how the dust settled from last week's heated debates, and looking forward to more debates tonight with Bach again. Bach, what's going on?
Yeah, and Justin, you didn't even mention NBA preseason has started. It feels like only yesterday we were watching the finals, and now it's back. Opportunity to get into the season. I know you guys talked a lot of Top Shot on Monday's show, so if you're looking forward to that starting back up, highly recommend listening. But just crazy time for sports with NHL, NBA starting, MLB ending, and right in the heart of NFL season.
You did it. I was about to say a little hockey preseason action going too for the hockey fans out there. But love it. All right, we do have a jam-packed agenda tonight, so we're gonna start with just some quick updates that we have. We've got the New York event coming up. We've got the new Better Late Than Never contest that's live in the lobby. We also have some news about the ability to buy packs with OTM balance, and then we're gonna get right into the week 4 recap, go over the winners, look at how our All Jokers lineup performed, which was not great again, guys. Out of the money again, spoiler alert. Then we're going to go through our position-by-position breakdown, reveal our All Jokers optimal lineup for this week, and then we've got some wheels to spin. We've got the Thrive Fantasy wheel to spin. We've got the prize picks, Thursday Night Football picks, plus a wheel to spin there. And Justin, going to the Rays game tomorrow night.
Yeah, starting some playoffs, got to get into it. So I'm pumped, and looks like we might be bringing some TOC people with us.
Love it. All right, so we announced this on the show on Monday / also put it out there on Twitter and in Discord, but we are going to be first off attending the NFT NYC conference coming up in a month, so the first couple of days of November, and on that Monday we're going to be hosting a little meetup, little party for the Monday Night Football game from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock at Tap House 33. I think in the next day or two, we will have a registration link out there for people to go ahead and sign up, just so that we get a feel for head count. But yeah, anyone that's going to be either at the conference or is just in the general New York area, would love to have you come hang with us and other members of the community that night. And definitely going to be making sure that we get as many Owners Club people in there as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, to make sure, what we're going to do is fully open this up only to the Owners Club to start off. We're not exactly sure what the cap is. We've got to work with the Tap House, but we've got a general idea. What we want to make sure is that anyone that is in the Owners Club has the opportunity, kind of that first access. After that, we'll leave that open for a few days, maybe a week, to see like what that level of interest is, how many are actually in the area and able to join. Then we'll move over to kind of the OTM Discord and kind of the larger OTM community, see who's able to join there. And then if there still is any availability, then we'll kind of open that up to a bit more of the kind of outside there. But without a doubt, this is Owners Club first. It's a Monday night. There's a Giants football game. We've got some fun promos, giveaways. It's going to be a fun little night.
Yes, indeed. So everyone, more details to come over the next couple of days. All right, shall we jump into a little bit of a week 4 recap? So we put out these on Twitter, but shout out to the one and only Jay. This is the second time that we've seen Jay show up on top of not on top of the leaderboard, but he was in the top 10 previously. Just a fantastic lineup here. I think one card away from the perfect lineup, which would have been
2 cards.
2? Oh,
yeah.
What was the second one? I know it was Atlanta running back.
Yeah, and the Chargers tight end.
Oh, I didn't
after
realize
last
that.
night. Yeah, you got Jared Cook, you got Donald.
Oh, from last night.
Touchdowns.
That's
Jared
right.
Cook had the big game. Yeah.
Not easy to make the optimal.
It's not, but I wanted to talk about that for a minute, right? Like, you can certainly see exactly how he got to this lineup, right? Mahomes always a great play. Wasn't in my top 3 last week, obviously. We'll talk about that, but always a great play. Most people pairing him with Kelsey. So going with the Kansas City wide receivers, a bit of a contrarian play. Henry just with the game script and everything. But you look at this and there are 2 cards there that weren't in the optimal at their position, including the tight end card. And Justin and I talked about this a little bit to start the season, but when you have a position go off at the beginning of the week in the Thursday night game, it brings in some really interesting game theory. And I think what we saw in this case was almost everyone at the top of the leaderboard played Cincinnati tight end, which was successful for them, but you could have differentiated a little bit and had a really good team by playing a different tight end and ended up outscoring them. So there's a lot of game theory, especially in the do I take the guaranteed points or do I hope that someone else comes through?
21.5 for a tight end is a strong score. I think maybe I'm not going to put them in the side hustle or maybe, when we eventually have the Island of Misfit Toys, just because there's only 2 cards and harder to differentiate yourselves. But if you put in a 21.5 in the tight end spot, you're not getting blown away. You are finishing near, if not the top of that position. And it makes sense in my mind if you had that tight end. And if you didn't, you could have bought it in the marketplace for pretty cheap if you were doing it quickly or kind of even afterwards, because then a flood of people started to throw them on. But yeah, I think going forward, we'll continue to see kind of a bit more strategic aspects with how these Thursday night. And now this weekend with the London game, you've got 4 teams that you can choose from and kind of plug in your lineup before the lock time.
Yeah, things are definitely about to get even more interesting with London games coming up, with bye weeks coming up. It'll be interesting to see. And I thought another thing that I noticed was in 5th place, Oster 33 here using the Joker tight end on Cincy, which, again, locking in those 21.5 points, which is super solid from the tight end position. And, of course, you needed the Buffalo defense, as you can very clearly see here. I mean, we were taking a look at the top performers from the week and was working with Damien, the designer, and he was like, are people supposed to get negative points? And I said, they are not typically, but yes, the Houston quarterback card scored negative points this week. Which is something that I didn't expect to ever see, and I'm not sure we'll see that again. That's impressive. Hats off to Cleveland or Houston.
And you occasionally see it in DFS where you're playing a player where somebody does something. Ronald Jones has a fumble to start the game and gets benched, or the QB throws 2 interceptions and gets benched. Here, it doesn't matter if they get benched; you still have the rest of that position. So you literally had the whole game to get back into the positive and couldn't. Yeah, that was rough. And then the defense, I think this is one of the highest scoring defensive games we have seen for a team that did not even put up a touchdown. We have, if you look at the scoring for defenses in the Owners Club, there's actually it's a strong bonus for if you get a shutout. And shutouts are very rare in the NFL these days. But if you're able to do it, it kind of almost becomes a must play.
Yeah, and not only was Buffalo the highest scoring defense we've seen through 4 weeks, I believe, but they also outscored the next highest scoring defense this week by double. The next was 14, and we haven't seen that kind of discrepancy yet through 4 weeks. This was a week where the chalk defense hit in a big way, and if you had them, you were going to do all right, and if you didn't have them, you were going to struggle to cash.
And then let's take a look at the side hustle, which was dominated by the Kansas City stack. Once again, we see the immense overlap happening in the side hustle, as we expect, which is why we always talk about those low serial combinations. So here we go. Up at the top, Tyler with the quarterback and wide receiver from Kansas City. Total serial 72, taking it down for a first prize of $1,000. And how about the 8th and 9th positions? Atlanta running back and New York American wide receiver. Never would have guessed that would find its way into the top 10. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal the screen share real quick and share with you, because we put on Twitter this and we got 2 responses. One from JT Cookie saying, when I think I asked, Got to admit, did not expect to see Atlanta RB and New York wide receiver combo finishing top 10. And then JT Cookie goes, I did, wink, JK. And then MF Berg goes, I also did. Sometimes you just got to play the best stacks and stack ATL RB and New York wide receiver. And as we can see, those are JT Cookie and MF Berg. So some people are just too sharp for this show.
Shout out to them. Hey, that goes to all the, it's not possible to win if you don't have the best cards. Like, those are, I think no one would argue that those are the best cards, and they took him $250 a piece for it. So it can be done.
Those would have been low ball entries in a couple weeks, and will be low ball entries in a couple weeks. But that's right. I mean, the variance and the getting all of the position. Because it's the other thing that's crazy about those cards. It wasn't the headline player at each position who did well. Cordarrelle Patterson with 3 receiving TDs. The Jets was super spread out. I mean, Corey Davis had a good game, but the Jets was pretty. Sorry. Yeah, Corey Davis had a good game, but the Jets was pretty spread out. So, it wasn't like that's the benefit of this and the variance in the NFL, especially when you don't have to pick the players, you just have to pick the positions.
Yeah, I would have put both of those as bottom 10 scoring like projections for the week. And well done. Anything can happen.
Anything indeed. And just a little refresher. I breezed over this, not to touch on it more, but the Week 5 contests are now live in the lobby, including the Better Late Than Never, which you are only eligible for if you purchased during the Drop 2 pre-order. So single entry, get on in there. I think that this is very likely to be one of the best chances to cash for those of you that are eligible. So definitely make sure if you purchase a pack during the pre-order that you get yourself in there. And we will also add that we now have the ability to purchase packs and single cards with your OTM balance simply by going into the Discord, opening up a support ticket, and then leaving some information there on your username, on your wallet address, and how many packs you would like to purchase. And we've been getting people some packs that way. So for anyone that cashed this week, have some ways to put that balance to use now.
Sounds good.
All right.
Let's see. So better late than never. 730 people are qualifying for it. Yeah. So that's the most amount of entries that we'd expect to see. My guess is we end up seeing somewhere in those kind of high 600s. And then payouts is a 10K payout. So it's the same structure as the side hustle paying 100. So you're looking at 15 to 18% chance of just finishing in the cash. And with that single entry, like this will be one of the best tournaments of the year, I think.
Yep, exact same prize structure as the side hustle. So top 100 pay, 10K total, up for grabs. Definitely a great opportunity for any of you guys that are eligible. All right, let's take a look at our optimal lineup from last week. And I know we had some contention on the show. We did not have the Kansas City quarterback in our top 3. I believe that was the number 1 quarterback scorer from the week. I think what really brought this lineup down was what was it, quarterback and tight end here? Because Kansas City tight end.
It had 8.5. Yeah, it had 8.5.
My Philadelphia Eagles just shutting down Travis Kelce. We're just too good.
Jody
and letting Tyreek run all over them.
Jody Fortson ended up sneaking in that 1 touchdown, so he at least gave them a few points. But obviously, what you're looking for from that tight end position with a Kansas City card is more than 8.5. You want to talk about that monsoon Bachman, and any other excuses for Tampa Bay?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's right. I think we make this on Wednesday, right? We didn't know that there was going to be a monsoon in the Tampa Bay game. That I think certainly hurt. We can debate how much it hurt, but we would not have picked Tampa Bay if we knew it was going to be raining 6 inches on the game. And picking this on Wednesday, we picked tight end before Thursday. Everyone got the free square of Cincinnati after the Thursday night game. It was a bit of an uphill battle for us to cash this week. We would have still done it with Tennessee, Rams, and Buffalo if we had something out of our quarterback, and we had nothing. So.
Win some, you lose some. So what are we now? 2 for 4 cashing on the year?
I think that's right. So I was taking a look. We've gotten first week and week 4, we did not cash. Week 2 and week 3, we pulled out a 500 and a 250. So overall, I mean, hey, 2 out of 4 is not bad. But when you're playing with theoretical 5 jokers, I think we need to do a little better, Bachman. Hoping this is the week.
This is the week. All right, let's get into it. We're going to go position by position, break down our top teams to target as well as our sleeper picks, and we're gonna mix it up here. So Justin's gonna be talking through the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. Bach's gonna be talking through the running backs and tight ends, and starting with the quarterback position. Justin, I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with Kansas City.
The chalk donkey, Justin.
After Kansas City comes off from a 42-point game last week, I think they were projected for 32 points. So this Buffalo-Kansas City game is going to be absolutely fun, exhilarating, high-scoring, high-powered offense. Just going to be a fun game to watch. So throwing in both the Kansas City and Buffalo. Kansas City is favored in that game by 3. They're playing at home. And, only reason, if I was going to differentiate between these two, you think that, hey, Josh Allen has a bit more of a rushing upside, especially around the goal line, and the aspect of, from a floor standpoint, Kansas City, you could see a world in which Buffalo says, hey, we're going to let you run. And, kind of what the Chargers did to Kansas City 2 weeks back. And it just said, hey, let Clyde do what he wants on the ground, and it worked for the Chargers, and they got the W. But I think still going with Patrick Mahomes there, and then the Josh Allen, I think, you got 30-point, 27-point between the two. All those points come from, the quarterback position in Buffalo. So I feel very good about those two. End of the day, these top 3, there's no reason to go other than from the chalk standpoint. I think these are the top 3 scoring. I don't actually know who the do you want to go to the we'll do that after. I want to use that research page because I was looking at that. That's kind of helpful too. I believe Arizona is the 2nd highest scoring of the QBs. Let's see. All right, so for the QB, we can see. Okay, Kansas City, Arizona, and Buffalo. Okay, so there you go. It is the 3 highest scoring QBs. Not too surprising.
Chalk. Wow, really going off the board here. I love it.
It's not only chalk, but it's also matchups wise. If we look at who they're playing against, it's teams that they're going to need to throw. And then Arizona, you got 27-point projections going against San Francisco. I think this is probably a bit the most risky, just because with San Francisco and Trey Lance going to be as QB. The San Francisco team might just kind of try to, run the ball, slow it down, or they may just not have much offense. And if that's the situation, you could just see this being not the shootout that you're looking for from a QB perspective. So that's where I'd say that Arizona has a bit more of the risk there. And then, the last one is my sleeper is Minnesota. Kirk Cousins has actually had a sneakily fantastic year this year. Maybe with Dalvin Cook being out last week, maybe they're going to, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Last week he still played, didn't put up great numbers in that kind of just slow 14-7 game against Atlanta. But this week I see, we're going against Detroit. Teams do whatever they want against Detroit. Minnesota's projected to score 29 points. They are a huge favorite. So yes, it's possible that Kirk Cousins just hands the ball off. And this is a Dalvin week where he throws up 2 to 3 touchdowns. But also, they had enough weapons in the air, and love the emergence of Tyler Conklin as a legitimate tight end threat. That hey, I could see this just being a 4 or 5 TD game for Minnesota, and so that's why I'll consider them a sleeper.
And if you have not checked out the research tab on the site, definitely give it a look. It's something that we're going to continue to iterate on and add more information to. But you can go to the team scoring tab and see how each of the cards have performed in a given week, and then also see each individual weekly average as well as the positional average. So you can kind of see how the cards that maybe you have, or maybe the cards that you're looking for in the marketplace, compare to the average score. So I think it's a pretty interesting stuff there. And again, something that we're going to continue to add to make it as easy for you as possible for you guys to find out what you're looking for.
And I want to throw one more in. I think this is a great opportunity this week to consider if you're doing the side hustle and you maybe you have your Buffalo, you have your Kansas City quarterback, and you're trying to maybe whatever reason you already have a solid main lineup teams. You want to just go for that side hustle. This would be a great week to go pair it with the other team. So if you had that Patrick Mahomes, you have the Kansas City quarterbacks, pair it with the Buffalo wide receivers. That's going to be a way to get unique, and I could very easily see that combo or the reverse of. I guess Buffalo QB and Kansas City wide receivers are such going off, and you'll get a little differentiation. So you're not competing against 6-7 people as we saw the Kansas City stack from last week.
All right, let's move on over to running back Bach.
Before we do, real quick, Justin, my only thought there was, on the Arizona one, I completely agree about the concern there. And I think, that total's moved 3 points since the open, which is a ton. And that's all the sharp money. The majority of the bets are coming in on the over, and it's moved 3 points to the under because all the sharp money's coming in on the under. I think that one is risky. Like, it's tough to fade Kyler, especially when they have a high team total. But I could see a world where Trey Lance from last week doesn't come through, and that game just ends up being quick, and San Francisco can't compete, and Arizona isn't throwing that much above what you would expect. So I think that's the riskiest of those plays.
Yep, completely agree.
Cool. So we'll jump over to running back. And so first you've got Dallas. I think just the emergence of both Pollard and Zeke here makes this card, and I say emergence, I mean Pollard was pretty good last year, has continued to have a role this year. Dallas is high total. I think they've got the fifth highest total on the slate. Now it's a little bit lower than that. Or sorry, excuse me. They have the second highest total on the slate. They're 7-point favorites. New York's giving up points everywhere, every which way, including on the ground. So I think this is a no-brainer card, and Dallas is going to want to run the ball here. I actually had Vikings running backs here, and I think that this is definitely one where you're going to want to keep an eye on Dalvin's health. If Dalvin, they might have sprained an ankle at the end of the game, no reports yet on exactly where his health's at. If he's out, this probably moves down the board a little bit. But the case, if he's healthy, even if he's a little bit limited, is they've got a high total. They're 9-point favorites, and fourth or tied for third highest total. They're 9-point favorites, and Detroit has given up the most points to running backs of anyone in the league this year. And they've got two guys. So even if they get up big and sit Dalvin, they can go to Madison, and he can still be really effective there. And then Tennessee, this is one where we're going to want to keep an eye a little bit on the health of the wide receivers. But either way, they're medium favorites against a terrible Jacksonville team. And I think, if their wide receivers are healthy, this play becomes maybe 10% worse. I thought the interesting thing about last week was without A.J. Brown, without Julio, they actually threw the ball to their backup running back as much as anyone else. And so that even enhanced the value of Tennessee's running backs last week above what we saw just from Derrick Henry. And then from a contrarian play perspective, New England, their running backs were absolutely awful last week against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's got a really good run defense. And I think that they're big favorites. Houston's been terrible in every facet of the game this week. And I could definitely see this being a week where 8.5-point favorites, they just want to run the ball, get out of there, not put too much on Mac Jones's plate. They have been passing a little bit this year, so that's why this is a contrarian play. But
yeah, that game, in New England game, is going to be so low scoring. The total right now is 39.5. It's been a long time since you've seen an NFL total like that low. It's going to be ugly, and I would just be concerned that I just don't want any part of that game. But it is a contrarian play, and they're 8.5-point favorites. I don't hate it. I like all the other three. I'm not sure I can legit find an argument against any of them. Green Bay is the one that I'd maybe want to see, but I don't know who I'd take out of those top three. So I'd probably still would have gone with those top three. But Green Bay, it could be a high-scoring game versus Cincinnati. Bach, any thought there, given your Cincinnati, fanhood?
Yeah. Their defense was supposed to be terrible coming into the year, and it's actually not been terrible. Now, they haven't played a murderer's row of offenses, and so it might be a little bit of smoke and mirrors. But it hasn't been terrible really in any facet of the game. And so, I think the thing with Green Bay is you've always got to worry, or you've always got the opportunity for Aaron Jones to catch 6 touchdown passes in a game or 3 touchdown passes in a game like he did a couple weeks ago. But, I think Cincinnati's defense has been good enough this year that I don't know that I love that play above these three, obviously.
Yeah, that's fair. And then, I see asking, Ryan's asking in chat about Cleveland. And Cleveland, obviously, week after week after week has gone off. But if there's a week to fade them, this is the week. They're actually underdogs in LAC. They are only projected to score like 22, 23 points. And that's a team that wants to run. But if, Chargers have played some great defense. They're playing very smart football. The way that they played against Kansas City, That's a game where, hey, if Baker's not able to kind of be at, keep an efficient offense, if he doesn't just keep missing wide open Odell Beckham like last week, that game could get a little ugly for them. So I would not have Cleveland anywhere near, not anywhere. I wouldn't have them in my top 3, probably not even top 5 or 7.
Yeah, the one argument you can make for Cleveland is Brandon Staley's an analytics guy. He gives up the run in favor of stopping the pass and has done that in a couple games this week. To beat Cleveland, you got to stop the run, and I think he's going to understand that's got to be the game plan. Make Baker beat you.
Right, bend but don't break. Yep. All right, let's move over. So wide receiver here. So first off, the most simple thing is, well, we should just have Kansas City and Buffalo wide receivers. Buffalo, obviously, there's no reason not to. So much of their points, even the role that Dawson Knox has had, is taken away from their wide receivers a little. Zach Moss is getting some run in the end zone. That wide receivers core, though, if it's going to be a positive game outlook, we still have to include them. Did not include Kansas City here. And even though Kansas City wide receivers were the highest or second highest scoring wide receivers last week, I think these Tyreek Hill, it's still a little bit fluky. You're still expecting Patrick Mahomes to get that Travis Kelce connection going, and that really does play an impact in hurting the wide receivers here, and especially if Jody Fortson's going to keep stealing a touchdown here and there. Clyde's even getting additional usage. There's just not much in the wide receiver department in Kansas City behind Tyreek Hill. So that's why I didn't add them. And I wanted to make that note because that's probably the most glaring miss here. So we have our LA Goats. If we look at that game now, we're talking, hey, going against Seattle, number 1 scoring wide receiver group is the LA Goats here. Yes, you can run as much as you want against Seattle. I think at the end of the year, we're going to look back at Seattle and think they were probably one of the worst run Ds, but I also think you can pass and pretty much do anything against that defense that you want. And so I think McVay and the Rams are going to really be highly efficient here and be able to kind of do what they want. I think Cooper Kupp, I think Robert Woods, I think both of them are going to have great games. I just think this is kind of I don't even want to say get right spot because they've been doing fantastic, but just stay on the right track spot. Arizona has the same upside, but same risks as we discussed before. There's still that risk that Arizona in that San Francisco game is just a little too slow, and then Arizona just ends up running, or they just don't have the ball that often. So I understand those risks. That said, it's still the possibility for just high scoring, and you're never going to doubt the Kyler Murray aspect. So still looking for there. Hopefully we're going to see DeAndre Hopkins getting a little healthier. He's definitely been battling a bit of an injury bug, but even in his absence, the AJ Green, the Rondell Moore, the Christian Kirk have kind of been filling in well. Even Max Williams stealing a few in the tight end department. And then let's go with the contrarian one here. Cincinnati. We were just talking about Cincinnati. They're likely going to be I think they're about a 3-point underdog here. They're going in a game that, hey, they're going to need to be passing. Joe Mixon is likely not playing this week. They likely had that injury. And I believe T. Higgins should be back. So that's going to probably bring CJ Uzoma no longer in the level of role that he had last week. And so I think this is an opportunity where, hey, as long as the Packers are kind of putting up points, which we expect, Cincinnati's going to need to be chasing, and they're going to be throwing and hopefully have those 3 core wide receivers as the main part of their offense. With no Mixon and with Uzoma having the lesser role, I think this could be a big wide receiver week for Cincinnati.
Bach, any comments?
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City wide receiver is just such a tough one to project week to week because there's so many options, and primarily Kelce, right? Like last week, they went off because Tyreek Hill had an absolutely absurd game. But that's tough to project week to week as a position group because you can't just have, generally speaking, one guy go off and get you there. And so, yeah, I think it's tough. There's going to be more weeks this year, just like this one, where Kansas City wide receivers win the week. But it's also tougher to project them to have week-winning scores every week as a unit against some of these other units.
Yeah. And Tampa's another one where we know that we always want some action in the Tampa wide receivers, especially if Gronk's not going to be playing because we don't expect Cameron Brate or OJ Howard to take as much of the target share. But they're 10-point favorites against Miami. It's just not we don't expect there to be a game where they need to continue to pass and kind of get that level of a shootout that we're looking for in these game environments. All right, let's see what Bach's got for us in the tight end department.
So I'm going to be honest. I struggled a little with tight end this week. I mean, I think one, we're going to go back to Kelsey. This slide doesn't actually, you can't remove Kansas City tight ends from this slide. It's locked in. Buffalo's actually defended everyone really well so far this year, but you're not going to fade the best player at the thinnest position with the best quarterback. The second one here, Las Vegas, I think is again just very much a bet on talent play. The Bears defense has been really good in general and against the tight end specifically. And Las Vegas got a little bit exposed on Monday against against Los Angeles, and they didn't look very good. Now LA's got a really good pass rush, and so I think that's a little bit tough. But we could definitely see the Bears take away Waller, where they've been good at defending that position so far this year, and force someone else to beat him, and really shift their coverages to him. But there's not an obvious, in my mind, better play right there. And then third, Dallas. Coming into the year, this was not a card that we had a ton of high hopes for, but they've been featuring the tight ends, both Schultz and Jarwin, all season, and two games in a row where Schultz has had a TD. New York is not defending the tight end well at all this year. They're big favorites. So, I think that you could make an argument for San Francisco here, although they haven't really done much, and the new quarterback scares me. That's probably the toughest one. You can make an argument for Baltimore, but that's what I went with. And then contrarian, I think New England, it's only a little contrarian this week because they had two touchdowns to the tight ends last week. So, coming off a big week, big favorites, they're going to have two tight ends on the field, probably more than any other team this year. And specifically in this game where they're huge favorites, they're going to have a lot of two tight end sets. And I could see a world where, they run first and goal, don't get it, second and goal, don't get it, third and goal, play action like 3 times and have 3 1-yard tight end touchdowns to the tight end. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, like San Francisco is obviously not here. San Francisco is like 15th or 16th on the year in tight end scoring. Just hasn't put it together. And obviously people that, even if you look like beyond Kittle and stuff, like just the offense isn't there. And we're kind of questioning what's going to happen with the Trey Lance aspect. And yeah, they definitely had the injury bug. I think interesting there is Dallas. Yes, their first 2 games this year, they put up 6.5 and 5.5 points in the tight end position. And then, as you mentioned, last 2 weeks were 21.4 and 19.6. I think Michael Gallup, the lack of him, is a big impact to their offense. And probably didn't really expect it, but when he went down, we saw those tight ends starting to play an increased role. And so as long as Michael Gallup stays sidelined, I would continue to kind of keep looking at these tight ends. So I like the call there. Las Vegas just seems to be that kind of slow and steady role where you haven't had the huge spike weeks out of them, but they're continuing to put up decent points just because of the heavy role that Waller plays. But I like all these. I like them.
We were talking, watching the Las Vegas LA game on Monday night, and a couple of people at the top of the leaderboard chasing with Las Vegas TE. When you see Carr throw that 60-yard pass down the field, you go, it might be Waller, it might take first. Wasn't completed anyways, but you gotta love the sweat.
Oh yeah, and then it ends up being Henry Ruggs, but he still drops it. Yeah. Yeah, and it was interesting because people, so like our friend Andy, he looks like if he would have probably finished first in the main event if he got a touchdown and maybe another 20 or 30 yards from like the tight end position from San Francisco. We saw people trailing with the Las Vegas card, and really all they needed, if they would have had the Chargers, the LA Thunder Horsies, they would have kind of done enough to possibly take home that Miami trip.
Just pulling up the scores of the research tab for tight ends is kind of interesting. At Philadelphia, number 3. I would not have expected that. Just putting out some
two-head approach
showings there, but
when
yeah,
you got Goddard, you got
Goddard combo.
Yeah,
and yeah, so just like you said, you mentioned the Buffalo tight ends earlier, starting to do a little bit better. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, if you look at the QB position too for overall, I think Philly's like 4th or 5th. Yeah, they moved up there as well. Jalen Hurts has been doing fantastic for them, and he gets the points not only on the ground, but he's actually been decently efficient. We'll see if they can turn that into actual wins, because I think I saw that, hey, if the season ended today, the Eagles would actually have 3 of the first 9 picks next year because of 2 of their trades. I think that was maybe Indianapolis.
That's what I've been saying,
Dolphins.
and then we can just draft 3 quarterbacks and then, maybe get
there you go. Maybe I'll just draft
quarterback factory.
Yeah.
All righty. Anything else on the positions here before we dive into our optimal?
Yeah, so I just want to talk about the optimal. We can jump into that because with this optimal, there's a bit of actually structured discussion that I think is worth having. So if you want to show them, you can see. I think this is the first time we did this, and maybe it's because I'm the one that's choosing QB and wide receiver, and Bachman wants to just be a little more away from the grain. But I went with the Buffalo stack here, and I think this is something that you see on the leaderboard. The teams that are at the top almost always have a QB wide receiver or QB tight end or some kind of stack here. And especially here, not only are we doing that stack with the QB and wide receiver, we're also taking the tight end to make it truly a game stack. Our bet is that Buffalo offense is going to have a big game. Josh Allen's going to pass a bunch. Hopefully it's the wide receivers. And if there's a high scoring game, there's also probably a lot, Buffalo needs to pass, so they're passing a bunch. So that means Kansas City's probably putting up points. And you're hoping that, hey, it turns into a shootout. So there's more opportunities for each team to kind of score. And so you're hoping to get some action from the other side. Maybe to go a little contrarian here is if you went with like the Kansas City running backs instead of the tight end, because I think this Buffalo Kansas City stack will be fairly popular. And then it's about kind of nailing those other positions. But I like we use game stacks. We use the run back in DFS. And I think it makes sense for people to kind of start thinking about that and using them in a game with such a great environment like this one.
Bach, any thoughts? And then for those people that are listening on the audio, the optimal lineup, we've got the Buffalo quarterback, Dallas running back, Buffalo wide receiver, Kansas City tight end, and the New England defense. Bach, any comments on the lineup and your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes a ton of sense. Like from a game flow perspective, could you see a world where the Buffalo QB is optimal and the Kansas City wide receivers are optimal too? Absolutely, because Allen might just throw one to Knox and run one in himself. But I think that it's pretty. This all makes sense. I think, as Justin said, this is going to be pretty chalky, and so you're going to have to get a little bit contrarian or have some really low cereals if you want to take down the tournament with it. For this, we went with Dallas. Like I said, I think they're the top play in my mind at the running back position this week. And then, I mean, Belichick against a rookie QB who just put up negative points is really like, I hope Davis is okay next week because I feel bad for him already.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, if Dalvin does play as healthy, I wouldn't be shocked if Minnesota ends up being the high scoring, running back either. And you obviously had them in your top 3 too. But yeah, I like that. I think there's definitely some options here, but this looks like a great team. Should we call our shot? Bach, I think we're calling top 25 next week.
Ooh, top 25.
I don't know what that pays out. It should be maybe a 250, maybe a 500. I don't know. It's got to be pretty decent, but I'm calling a top 25 with this team.
All right, I like to see it. See, yeah, 250 payout. So
okay, we'll take that. That'll help pay off the bet that you owe me from last week with the Kansas City. All right,
love it. So that kind of sums up the week that we're looking at here. Another fun week of contests. Remember, we've got the Better Late Than Never running this week for those of you that are eligible there. So a little extra shot to build a single entry 5-card team there. And then, we had some other competitions going on Sunday, though, Justin. We had a little Thrive Fantasy action. I think we're going to review that, talk through our little Beat the Bot game to see who beat Justin in Thrive Fantasy on Sunday. And then, of course, we're going to run through some prize picks of the night, parlay of the night for the Thursday Night Football game tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think we need to review it too hard. My lineup was not good enough for me to want to dive into it that much. All that matters is I finished about average. I think we had about maybe 120 or so participants. I think I finished right at 60th. It's not like I made a spreadsheet and took down all the odds and tried to see what the lines were otherwise and see where there was value and No, of course I didn't waste my time doing all of that. And then finish middle of the pack. No, I'm kidding. Actually, it was really fun because I like it, because my process basically is taking a look at where we have like some projections from Establish the Run. I took a look at what some of the like sites like Prize Picks and other prop sites to see like what their lines were to get a good feel. And then it's interesting because the method where the structure is, it's not like you go over under and you get the same amount of points, but like sometimes it was like, hey, go under Kirk Cousins a half of an interception, and if you get it right, you get like 160 or something. And kind of did some research to see like, hey, that's actually some positive value there. That makes sense. I actually don't know if I won that one or not, but chances are I didn't. I don't know. But no, it was fun. I'm going to continue doing it. And what we're going to do going forward is, so they have each week a $20 contest with $50,000 guaranteed. I think there's some decent overlay most weeks in that. So worth definitely checking that out. But what we're going to do is I'm going to compete in it each week. If you beat me, if you beat the bot, then you will get added to the wheel, which we will spin. Because we can't link up like account names and stuff like that, what we need you to do is just go to that Thrive Fantasy channel in the Discord, and I'll give on Monday what place I finished. And if you finished ahead, I think we just got to get your name or a screenshot or something, and then we'll add you to the wheel. Hopefully, I won't have to add too many people to the wheel each week, but apparently I do.
Well, let's check out all those lovely names that beat the bot this week. Love to see it. Great job, people. Just taking it to Justin, put him in his place a little bit. I'm sure that everything he had going on Sunday, the number one thing that he was sweating was definitely this Thrive Fantasy contest.
It definitely is like, because I spent like enough time to like think about the small like prop stuff. It's funny because at least I'm like, otherwise I have no interest in what Kirk Cousins is doing on the day. But like I see a Kirk Cousins highlight, I'm like, I hope that's not an interception. Hope that's not an interception. Like it adds a new level to sweat that I didn't have with all my other stuff. But so it's fun. Okay, so I think there should be 59. There it is. 59 people. All 59 of you. Congratulations. And everyone who entered ended up making some cash. That was cool. Top 5 ended up getting some TOC cards as well. And then, as we said, it was a $1,000 free roll. So thanks to Thrive Fantasy. And if you played in the free roll and you did not deposit, or if you didn't but you're interested, go to the Thrive Fantasy channel, and the Thrive Fantasy rep is throwing out new promos for new people who deposit as well. So lots of just tickets to enter contests and so forth. So let's spin that wheel. All right, good luck, everyone. These are Discord names. We'll reach out to you. If you're not in chat, that's okay. It is going to be, is it Zen Twist or is it Gator Map? Oh, Zen Twist 19. Congratulations, Zen Twist 19. We will reach out to you in Discord probably tomorrow, and then we'll get you your card for beating the bot. Well done. Well done.
Congrats to Zen Twist.
Okay. Moving on to another wheel.
Yes, another wheel indeed.
All right, so as Coop is getting that ready, so this one is now going to be for Prize Picks. This one is the parlay of the week. Let's see. This week, I believe we had 33.
Wow.
I think 33 people hit their 3-leg parlay or more. Week before, I think it was 35. One thing I will say, Coop, is can you make sure Shaw Daddy's not on there twice? Because even though I gave you his name the second time, we both realized afterwards that he was already on the wheel. So apologies there, just to one of his. But yeah, so congratulations to them. I know Coop's kind of been like watching that channel and just like tilting that he can't bet it. I know Bach as well has been pinging me with some ideas for stuff because he's done the more like actually making some bets and stuff with other sites, but can't play the Prize Picks. But we've been pretty hot in there. I had a horrible pick, and I went with the Davis Mills over in passing yards. And given he had those negative points, that did not work out well. But hoping to get back on the wagon and get it right this week.
Get back to the Davis Mills well?
I mean, it's 169 total or something. Like, I kind of want to go over it. We'll see. All right, let's see. So let's spin this wheel, and then we'll actually go through Prize Picks and make some picks for tomorrow night's game. All right, good luck. The Rain Man. All right, congratulations, Rain Man. Not only did you obviously win your parlay pick, but you've now won parlay of the week, and we will send you a card as well. All right, let me share my screen, and we can jump into some prize picks. I'm going to do an entire screen. All right. For tomorrow night's game. So we got LA, Seattle. Let's start off by going for, I got to log in. Okay. I'm working with a new laptop. So all the logins I got to redo.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst.
All right. I think we're good now, though. Here we go.
Should be pretty solid one for Thursday night this week. Although last week's Thursday night ended up being a great fun game too. Even though you wouldn't have expected it on the surface, it ended up being a great one.
Oh yeah, last week was great. All right, so going a little slow, but we'll get there. All right, go team. So we'll take a look at Seattle. You can see there the Davis Mills was there. I'm not even sure. Do we think Chris Carson's playing? I think last I saw was that he wasn't looking great. Looking here, the DK Metcalf is a decent amount over. What do you guys think from a game script? Bachman, what do you think is going to happen in this game?
Yeah, so I agree. Carson seems like doubtful, questionable, probably the wrong side of questionable. What I want to happen, probably what I think is happening is just, everyone's throwing the ball. Obviously, as we talked about earlier, you can run on Seattle. And so maybe the Rams try to keep it on the ground a little bit more, but they've just been throwing the ball so much this year. And like you said, you can do anything against Seattle. So I think that we're probably going to see them. I think we're probably going to see LA throw, Seattle throw. I think we're going to see a high scoring game.
I don't hate that. I do.
Sounds like overs to me, Bach.
This is an overs club, right?
It is. All right. I believe that Chris Carson has to play for this bet to count. So I don't think there's value in putting out an under here in hopes that he doesn't play.
Yeah, I think it gets invalidated if he doesn't play. So
yeah,
I think we should just exclude him from.
That makes sense. And so, Bachman, you and I are both talking about we like the Darrell Henderson. We like that you can run so easily on Seattle. So I'm thinking we go a game script that's going to include LA winning, Darrell Henderson running. If that's the case, we probably want to get like a DK Metcalf over because they're playing from behind and chasing. And then from a passing yards, do we throw in a Russell Wilson over?
Yeah, that or rushing yards, because that's probably a relatively low number. And if there's one thing I know is going to happen is Aaron Donald's going to move some people around, move Russ off his spot.
All right, so it's at 21.5. Let's see if we have Russ Wilson. We have him at 24.8. It's a little. The thing is, it doesn't have correlation with the DK. And I feel like if we want to be doing this, we want to kind of get that correlation for the passing, right?
Yeah.
Four-legger?
All right. You can only do one. You can only do one per player. So you can't do you
can't do a two Russ. I see.
Because there's passing completions.
Right. Yeah, we'd be all over that. Just stack props on one player.
All right. So obviously we hit the power play. We're going to go with, we got the Russ and DK correlation, obviously. Big passing game there. And the reason why they're passing is because LA is kind of going to be out in front of this game. Henderson gets enough rushing yards here. I like it. Do we fire it?
Of course.
All right.
Henderson, Russ, Metcalf. How do you, generally speaking, how do you guys pick between Metcalf and Lockett in a given week? I feel like it just.
So for me, I think it's if I'm betting props, I'd rather have DK. I see Tyler Lockett as being one of those mean median players, at least more recently in his career, where he's going to have those big plays. And if that's the case, he goes way over, but I think that ends up dragging his mean. So more often he's actually go under. So if I was trying to bet an under on a wide receiver aspect, I think I'd probably aim towards an under for Lockett and just hope he doesn't have those big plays. While DK has become a bit more of an alpha and getting a higher target volume. So I just have a little more trust that he's going to get an over. And I have been actually behind the scenes talking to Leone, trying to figure out like how we should kind of incorporate the mean versus median aspects into the projections. And they're doing some really cool analysis. And I think I'm hoping eventually we're going to get a bit more median aspects into these projections too, which will help us with props.
Pretty cool. Reminder, if you have not already, head on over to prizepicks.com, sign up there. We'll be running through our Thursday night picks every single week this year. Sign up with promo code TOC, and you will receive 2 free TOC cards for signing up, as well as a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. So if you deposit the full $100, you will receive 2 free TOC cards. We are continuing to run that promotion. So definitely check it out if you are in an eligible state and want to contribute to the Print Fest that Bach and I are just missing out on a weekly basis. Painful.
Yeah. I can't even open the channel at this point. I mean, I want to and like go heart all the winning bets, but it just hurts to see everyone else succeeding when we don't even have the opportunity to succeed.
It's okay. You guys can move to Florida, or at the least later on in the season. We're going to have a big Prize Picks party during the live final where we're just going to be grinding all weekend. It'll be good. or in New York in 3 weeks.
There it is. New York in 3 weeks. Oh yeah. Well, we'll be grinding that Monday night game, right?
Oh yeah.
Because it's eligible in New York. All right. I'm gearing up for that one. We'll be firing all the bets in New York.
And we'll be doing it all together because, we're going to – OTM community, TOC community, we're all going to be there. So we're going to have, as we mentioned, the giveaways and stuff. And then we'll definitely be having firing some props throughout the evening into the game starting.
Love it. Any final words for this week, gentlemen?
One more wheel.
What wheel do we have now?
We got the Rays game wheel.
Oh, my goodness. We do got the Rays game wheel.
Yeah.
I forgot about this one. Last minute edition.
All right. So we have 6 people that are in the Tampa area. We've got 2 in Orlando, 1 down in Miami, 1 in Melbourne, which so Orlando's probably like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. Miami's like 3.5, 4. Melbourne's probably like 3 or so. But it should be a really fun time. And so this is for you and a guest. Sorry, I just kind of froze there because I was trying to think, but I think it's fine to say. I don't think I'll care. So it'll be you and a guest joining, and it's going to be the person I'm going with as well, or what we'll be going with is Christian Hardy. So over from Moment Ranks, who also lives in the Tampa area and is a good guy, good friend. And so we'll be heading to this game. You and a guest join us as well. We're going to go to Bodega, which is the best Cuban sandwiches in the world. And that's like data science proven. Like it just is what it is. There's a really good brewery across the street, green bench. And then we'll walk into the stadium and watch the Rays kick some Red Sox butt, because that's how we do it down here in Tampa.
Sounds like a fun one.
All right. We're ready to spin that wheel. Gosh, the drama, because you can actually see like where it's going.
Yeah, this is just like, full on drama.
The wheel looks kind of goofy with 6 people. I'll be honest.
We're going to have 2 backups too, because just in case, hey, one of the people, wife says no, something happens, they can't make it, we'll definitely reach out. But we're going to contact the winner tonight to hopefully lock things in. All right, let's do it. Let's spin that wheel.
I see Connor in chat.
There we go. Good luck. This
is a hilarious wheel.
It's Lord NFTs from down in Miami. Let's go.
Lord NFTs.
Congratulations. All right. This is our first winner. I will be reaching out to him tonight, but let's get 2 backups just in case. And you may want to remove him from the wheel just so, because there's an 18% chance it actually lands on them again.
Yeah.
All right. Automatically did. There we go. Good job. All right. First backup. Here we go. Spinning. Pud 2. Congratulations. All right. If Lord NFTs is not able to make the drive up from Miami, we will definitely get in contact, Pud. Keep an eye out on your DMs, especially tomorrow morning, because that's when it would probably come to fruition. And then the second backup, just in case, the mercy one, the consolation.
Long shot.
A real long shot. Oh, there's Connor. All right. Connor, maybe, congratulations. But should be a fun night. We'll take some pictures. Love the idea of just kind of getting to meet some of the TOC community and all. And should be fun. Go Rays.
Awesome. Enjoy the game. Should be a fun one. And then also remember to check out the TOC giveaways channel in Discord. We're running another prop contest for the Thursday night football game. We're giving away two NFL games or two tickets to one game this week, and then 4 TOC cards. So you can take your choice as we've been doing the past couple of weeks. Yeah. Pick your choice between if you want to be eligible to win the tickets or if you want the cards.
And one of the questions, we're going back to our roots in week 1, where it was how many beers did Justin drink at the football game? And it was the tricky one where it was only 2 beers, but it was, were they 30 ounces? 20?
Yeah,
no, it was something weird. It was like 22 or 26 or something like that. But yeah. But so this time we're going with fluid ounces. How many ounces is he drinking? At the Rays game this time. So it'll be fun.
Next level scientific. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stay tuned to the Discord for any upcoming announcements. We'll have the Friday newsletter coming out later this week. And then, of course, we'll be back next week for the standard Monday, Wednesday show schedule. So that'll be it for tonight. On behalf of Justin, on behalf of Bach, and, of course, producer group behind the scenes, I'm TJ Lasig, and we'll see you guys next time.